Welcome. Here we are, session 2 of Stranger Fruit on Zoom and also streaming live on Facebook. So if you have people that aren't on the Zoom, let them know we're live on Stranger Fruit page on Facebook and we're live on Zoom. Welcome to session 2. I'm Debbie Gold. I'm your co-host, and Marva Jackson Lord, who you can see somewhere in the frame, is also a co-host. I must ask everybody as you come in, please have your microphones on mute unless you're speaking. That includes the musicians as well. Everybody that's not speaking at the moment, have your microphones on mute. There'll be times when you will be more than invited to use mute. So just quickly, as is customary with these things, just a little housekeeping. This is being recorded. It will go on YouTube, live on Facebook. It would be nice if as many of you as possible can have your cameras on so we can feel we're in a community. However, your best experience of the evening will be to have the speaker view, and our tech person, Faz, is just highlighting everything as it goes along. Most importantly, there is chat. You can see the chat in the side. Some of you might not be familiar how chat works, depending what settings you've got. If you've got full screen, you won't, yeah, you will see it as well. Chat is along the bottom in most computers and laptops. On phones, you might have to click the dots that say more. So flash it up and make sure it says it's sending to everybody, and chat however you like. And at times we might put in some little stimulus into the chat, because the chat can fuel both the interview and what goes on later. This is the internet, this is the Zoom, and we may zoom in and out, you never know. There is a caption facility for those who are hard of hearing. If you have a question for anybody, please mark it very clearly in the chat. Do feel free to talk amongst yourselves. I hope some of you have brought instruments with you. And those of you that feel like singing at some stage later on, there is going to be an amazing improvisation opportunity. And just to fill in more of the team, I've told you about me, Debbie Gold, Marva Jackson Lord hosting, Fez on tech, Bilkis Malik, who is the director of Transcultural Visions, and whose vision this whole thing is there, very present. And we owe a lot to Bilkis building this team, making it all run so very smoothly. And somewhere you will see Claire Marshall, who is painting and doing, just feeling the moment, seeing what it goes with. And if any of you feel moved to do some painting, some drawing, something like that, depicting what's going on, please do that. And there will be a capacity for you to send it either through the emails or to the Facebook. And we will at some stage have a gallery, your own gallery as well. So I think I have covered, oh no, there's one important thing I've forgotten, which will flash up from time to time. We are very generously funded by the Arts Council. However, we have this wonderful donation thing, buy me a coffee or a donut or whatever. It's a very easy donation mechanism, and you can put as little or as much as you like. And this goes to begin to match some of the aspects of the Arts Council funding that we are encouraged to put in ourselves. So very briefly, Stranger Fruit, it's inspired by Billie Holiday's heartrending and powerful and beautiful song Strange Fruit, and we've taken this further. Stranger Fruits People are strangers, people are not strangers. Music that's coming out from the screen may be strange. We've been in very strange times, even stranger now. And we also want to bring forward musicians that may have been strangers to us, that we want to bring forward and bring them far more into the spotlight, especially women in jazz and blues. And to enable this, we've invited 4 amazing contemporary musicians. There's Renu, who you're not seeing this time. She has a prior engagement. She'll be back in the others. And she is in the YouTube clip from session 1, and we'll put in that YouTube link at some stage in proceedings. And the more of you that like it, the sooner we can name it Stranger Fruit. YouTube at the moment, it's got a load of numbers because we have to have 100, but that shouldn't take long. And we have Charlotte Keeffe, who is leading tonight, Sharon McLeod, who led last time, who's very much present, Rowella Oloro, who is there. Everybody's logging in from different places, and we have a special guest this time, Lara De Belder, who you can see on the screen with Charlotte. I'll tell you a little about Charlotte, but I do recommend that you go to strangerfruit.net, and that's where you'll find all there is there. Because if I told you all about what Charlotte does, that would be the whole session, like all of the missions. She is amazing, and she's put up a very full thing there, and it reminds me of the thing, if you want something done, ask a busy woman, ask Charlotte Keeffe. She is, I'll just tell you what a jazz writer said about her. Fresh on the scene trumpeter Charlotte Keeffe is a whirlwind of extended technique and tactile puzzles, removing the mouthpiece to elicit a windy howl, using her left hand as a mute in the bell of the horn, reveling in restless possibilities. And Charlotte makes possibilities. Improvisation is her passion, alongside experimental music and jazz, and you'll see all these elements. She runs her own quartet. Currently, they're touring, celebrating the release of Right Here, Right Now, her album on this wonderful Discus Records, where Charlotte also collaborates with many of the other label mates, including Orphy Robinson, Pat Thomas, and also she's part of something called the Lonely Impulse Collective with Emily Susan Shapiro. And every 10 days, they put out an improvisational composition. And just like the best of the internet, it's there and then it's gone. It disappears in 24 hours. So look on the website to find out about that. I'm not going to tell you all the panacea, is it panacea? All the panorama of amazing major artists that she works with. Look at the website. I'll tell you about a couple of other things that she does. She is part of the London Improvisation Orchestra, and she's part of programming what happens there. She's on the board, so she's a musician, and she's a very proactive one as well. And she's proactive with women's jazz media team, seeking and fighting for channeling for real gender and diversity, equality. And if that's not enough, I don't know how she does it. She is a professor of jazz and improvised trumpet music at the London Performing Academy of Music. And until recently, she was the assistant music director of the London Gay Band, but that had to make room for her focusing on her own work. And one thing is that improvisation, as I said, is her passion. And she takes music to a different level. Some people have that kinesthesia that they see music as color. Charlotte makes music color. She makes it with sound. She sees her trumpet, her flugelhorn as brushes to make things happen. And this really beautifully resonates with what Claire Marshall is doing. I think you have the picture So I'm going to go straight in, not quite yet, sorry. How could I do this? Well, I'm expecting you all know what's going on. You do, but as all of the musicians have chosen another musician, whether they be from the past, but still very much in our minds with their legacy, or from very much contemporary, that has inspired them, that will also inspire the music here. And Charlotte has chosen someone who at one time was called the best trumpeter on the planet, which is Tiny Davis of the International Sweethearts of Rhythm, who were major in the States and known far and wide in the late 30s, post-war into the 40s. And they were unusual because they were mixed, black and white. And this was very difficult in the States at that time, seriously difficult, but they made so many waves. And Tiny herself was so loyal to that band, she could have played with anybody that she wanted. She was a powerhouse. Tiny was the nickname in the best ways of nicknames, because she might not have been tall, but she certainly wasn't tiny, and she was the powerhouse. We need to hear from Tiny herself before we roll. So let's have the first clip.
Ain't recorded since 1953. If I was a girl singer instead of horn player, maybe I'd still be cutting records. My picture be in Jet every week. I'd have a spot in Vegas, on Broadway, singing nightly in the New York club, a professor. But it's been one night stand since the war was over. I could have played with Cab, Basie, or the Duke. I was mighty, the sensation of a century, out of this world, supreme, stellar. But it was them girls, white, light, bright, brown, tan, and yellow. Yes, sir, that's who I grind my axe for. Times wasn't ready for us, still ain't.
I always made my living blowing music. Blowing music, get that right, gal.
Now it will move on so that we can hear directly from Charlotte herself and Martha Jackson Lord.
So it was lovely to see that clip about Tiny Davis and with hearing her speak. Charlotte, how does Tiny Davis inspire you? What made you bring her into this session?
Oh, well, yeah, firstly, thank you, Debbie, for that mega intro, and thank you, Marva. And yeah, let's get this party started. Let's celebrate Tiny. She's mega, she's mighty, she's got such a presence that just oozes out in the clips that you're going to see in today's concert, in today's Stranger Fruit. And her humor is, she's so funny and she's so cheeky, and she owns it. She owns the stage. She owns the music that she's playing, and that she spans across the history of this music. She was born in 1909 or 1910. It's not quite sure when she was born, 1909, 1910. And then she died in 1994. So she's, the decades that she spanned across and the history that she was, is part of. Yeah, she's an incredible musician, and somebody that I would love to, obviously would have loved to have played with and had a drink with. And yeah, so we're going to celebrate her big time now.
She He started playing the trumpet at the age of 13.
Yep.
In a time when, well, even today, the relationship between women and playing an instrument like the trumpet is, you know, I
Yep.
found, I was reading up, as I was preparing to speak with you, I was reading about gender bias in education, even today. And the stereotypes of, and biases intensify with age, it seems like. Whether you're an educator teaching music with an instrument or a student. And yet, Tiny Davis overcame the biases to become one of the leading trumpeters of all time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. This is it, Marva. And she, as you, I mean, as you got from that clip, you can hear the kind of jazz music that we're talking about, and it's amazing to think that she turned down working with her male colleagues, peers at that time. So, you know, I'm talking about Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong offered her, I think it's 10 times her salary, her weekly salary. So she would got $150 a week, and she was offered 10 times that amount to go and work with, you know, folks like Louis Armstrong. And she turned it down because she wanted to play with them girls. She wanted to play with the women that she was playing with. And she played in the Harlem Girls Band. I think that's it, Harlem. She started playing the trumpet, as Marva said, when she was 13. She then went into the Harlem Girls, which was an all girl band. And then she got married. She had children, but then she saw an ad for the International Sweethearts of Rhythm, and she became such a feature and a soloist and clearly the lead trumpeter in that big band, which thrived during World War II. And then, of course, after World War II, when the men came back, the International Sweethearts of Rhythm disbanded, kind of dispersed. And the clip that you've just seen really is Tiny talking about the Helldivers, and that is the ensemble that took off in the late 1940s, 50s, and that was really what you've just seen there, the Helldivers, Tiny Davis and her Helldivers. Yeah. So
that clip ended with her saying, "Times wasn't ready for us, still ain't."
Still ain't.
And as a trumpeter today, how do you link with that?
Well, I mean, this, you know, it's still a novel thing to be doing what we're doing right here, right now. You know, it's still a thing. And I put a little post out a couple of weeks ago because I'm so excited to be part of Olivia Murphy's jazz orchestra. But as the time was coming up to think, I was really, really scratching my head to think, have I been part of an orchestra that's a full orchestra, a jazz orchestra of this size? It's being led by a woman. And no, I haven't, not of that size. I've done, some projects have been led by women, but not of that size. And this is today, 2022. And it's still, even what we're doing right now is still, it's still a novel thing. It's kind of, there was pretty much every gig. There was a time when I would nearly get told at every gig, oh, it's unusual, isn't it, seeing a woman play the trumpet. I mean, that has now gone down. I probably get told that now about every couple of weeks, but it was every time I was out and about, or or they'd think I was the singer, in the band.
Yes,
so
the assumption is still strong that women are only relegated to certain, or accepted or expected to be in certain positions within the music industry.
Yeah.
And very prescribed roles as a musician as well.
Yes.
Default to singer. No offense to singers, because I love singers.
Absolutely not.
I know we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the trumpet, but I wanted to, there was something, one of the key things about the Tiny Davis's relationship to performance, I think it was particularly significant that she was a member of the International Sweethearts of Rhythm, because they were a multiracial, multicultural band women from Latin backgrounds, from African American, white backgrounds, and sometimes they had to, because the white singers performing or musicians performing with that band were treated the same as the other members of the band who were not white, right? So she chose not only to play with women, to be in a situation where they were treated badly on all different levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So should we move on to talk about, because I know we want to get to the music as well. Should we move on to talk a bit about the history of the trumpet and how you came to be engaged with it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, it's the trumpet is such a happy sound, and it was that Louis Armstrong sound that attracted me to the trumpet, and I didn't even know what the trumpet looked like, but I knew it contributed to that happy, bright, bold, jumping sound that I loved. And yeah, I mean, even now when I listen to something sad, I get very emotional and very teary. But it's the trumpet. It's and it's, we'll talk about this a bit later, but the trumpet has such a vocal quality to it, such a voice. So it's that happy, bright sound that I wanted to be part of. And I thought it would be interesting to share with people, Dizzy Gillespie. I thought it would be interesting just to talk a little bit about the history of the trumpet and really how and where it came from, because it came from that the marching bands, that military. It came from being an instrument to alert people, fanfares, to bring awareness of enemies coming. So that was the very broadly and speaking, that was the purpose of it and the history.
Wasn't it considered to be a male instrument?
Yeah, well, yes, because of the connections of it being used by soldiers and in those marching bands. So that really, I think must have shaped it, to be seen as a male instrument. So when we talk about, right here, right now, talking about Tiny Davis, to me, it's women that changed the history of the trumpet. I mean, let's face it, because women, that they played the melodies. It's incredible to think that. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's it. That's definitely something that I just really want to celebrate and say right now that women have changed the history of the trumpet, and to have those beautiful melodies played and the trumpet scene being played by women is I mean, as we just said, it is still a novel thing to see. So I also thought it would be interesting to share with you all briefly how you play the trumpet. So yeah, I'm going to go into that, just share how I make a sound on the trumpet, how I play it, because, and again, we'll talk a bit more about this briefly later on, but there's this physical thing, the trumpet being a really physical instrument, and men are stronger than women, so it's going to be easier for men to play and harder for girls to play it and all this stuff. But now I'm going to just be real. I'm going to do this briefly, and bear in mind, I have been playing the trumpet and I practice daily, and I've been playing for, and learning for, well over 10 years. So, but this is how the trumpet works. It's breath. It's just breath. Okay. So I set up my lips. There is a embouchure, a bit like a in the same way that there is for flute players, flautists, saxophonists, there is an embouchure, lip setting. So I just hold my corners together okay? And I know this is, I'm saying it very briefly, this is all much easier said than done, that's the phrase. So call mouthpiece, okay? All I'm going to do is I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to put embouchure. I'm going to exhale into the mouthpiece. I'm going to join the mouthpiece into my trumpet, and you'll hear a sound. And I want to prove that it's as easy as that. with some practice. Okay. Just blowing air. And I just there's the sort of cartoon thing of blowing raspberries. You know what? I'm going to do that, and it works. Okay. Yes, that works, but it's hard work doing the raspberries when you can actually just get a sound through the breath and the air. So I wanted to share that with you guys, because I think that's for non-wind players, for non-trumpet players, I think that's interesting, and yeah, important to know that actually, well, of course women have always been able to play the trumpet. Yeah, it's not anything about muscles or more strength. It's about that the air and the support, in the same way as singers. There's a lot of what's really interesting. My partner Lara is an incredible singer, and I will often hear her talking about her breathing exercises, and it's the same. It's the same for me as a trumpet player. So it's having these conversations and breaking these walls and these barriers that I think, yeah, that's not actually the case, yeah. Oh, Marva, you're on mute.
No, I know. I'm sorry, I didn't want to make sound while you were doing your thing, but I just wanted to say, before we move on to the rest of the program, that one of the things that excited me about you choosing Tiny Davis was her relationship to the blues as well.
Yep.
And because the blues was like a revolutionary music of its time. And I think it is still revolutionary. I think it's under acknowledged. Oh, and because the blues is a site of revolution and of documenting people's real histories. And it didn't matter what class background you came from to be able to produce blues sounds.
Yeah.
And Tiny Davis is part of that.
Yeah, absolutely, Marva. Yeah, and you're gonna hear that. You're gonna in this session you're gonna hear Tiny playing some blues, and we're gonna be playing some blues ourselves as well, very much inspired by what we're going to hear in those clips. So I'd love to move on to the poem, and I'd love to introduce Sharon McLeod, who's going to read this really beautiful poem out. And I think Bilkis has popped these beautiful words. And so I'm going to play some trumpet, but
it's a wonderful poem.
Yeah, we're going to get the
double
poem.
entendre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Sharon. Over to you.
This is the bugle call rag. No trumpet has ever been tempted not to funambulate on the filament of a melody. We're all stars. We're all made for the limelight. I was bought secondhand in Biloxi. I'd been dishonestly discharged by the Army band. I moaned, seeing that this as a step down, to be played by a woman, I who had been played by a real man. But the first time we stepped out front and center and blasted the rafters with a long-held I knew that all these years of playing marches had kept me from being all I was meant to be.
Yeah. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome.
Such a really moving poem, and you know, again, that the idea of, well, not even the idea, just the fact that women have, you know, changed that, the history of the music and the trumpet. So yeah, coming through there on that, out of those words. Yeah.
So what's next on the program, Charlotte?
Well, I'd love to jump in, sharing that just kind of like following on really what we're talking about, this the stereotypes and the expectations of women instrumentalists. And again, in that clip that we watched at the beginning, there's you may or may not have heard it, but Tiny hints at, you know, if she'd been a singer, you know, she would have perhaps been more in the limelight. And there's
an singer. She was a singer.
Well, yes, well. No, yes. If she'd just been the singer, yes, no, yeah, you're right, Marva. Yeah, because we'll hear Tiny singing as well today. But yeah, there's that moment. I can't remember the exact words, but yeah, there's something about, because she was also the trumpeter and instrumentalist, and yeah. So I think it would be cool to go into this clip, which hasn't actually got Tiny in it, but it's it's talking about this physical thing and the women instrumentalists. And yeah, I think that'd be interesting to see now as we move really into the track, a track featuring Tiny playing and singing. So yeah, I'd just like to, if that clip is ready to go, I think that is we are going in the right order. So yeah, it's just sort of tying up what we've been saying really about the physical. Yeah.
From a physical standpoint, it would seem that women in music do best when they play the piano. And this is probably because it takes less physical effort to play the piano than, say, a wind instrument, or for that matter, the drums. And to prove how right Duke is, here is Marianne McPartland right now playing I Could Write a Book.
People used to pay me a compliment. They thought it was. She plays just like a man.
Honestly, did you consider that you're working under a handicap to try to make a profession of being a jazz pianist as a woman?
Well, it has never been a handicap, Gene, truly, and I really don't think about it. I just think of myself as a musician working with other musicians.
You put a bunch of musicians behind a curtain, and who's going to tell me who's the female playing or who's the male playing? You can't do that. I'm a musician first, and I just happen to be female.
I mean, it's such a powerful clip to see nowadays. I mean, it was when I came across it, it was shocking. You know, it's shocking. And I just want to point out that the the woman that we see at the end is Carline Ray. Yes, yeah, Carline Ray, and she's a bass player and a guitarist, and I think she was in the International Sweethearts of Rhythm, actually. Yeah, so she's just saying that moment at the end, you know, about putting, if a musician is behind the curtain and not knowing their gender, you know, being a musician first, you know. So yeah, it's a really shocking clip, to see, and it's just going over what I've been saying before about this physical thing, and you know, I myself have received those comments, you know, well, you're pretty good for a woman, you know, and you know, I've been told that, like, literally when I'm playing the music, and it's like, what, like, would you, yeah, so that happened, you know, this thing of this sexism, so
Still exists.
yeah, it does.
It's how women are referenced in terms of music journalism.
Yeah.
Even on Wikipedia, I think I found a clip where something like less than 20% of Wikipedia pages is about women in all areas. Throughout Wikipedia, which reflects society. You know, and when you think of somebody like Tiny Davis, her stature at the time that she was alive was immense in terms of the music industry. And she wasn't only a performer, but she was supporting other women in music. She was a band leader in her own right.
Yeah.
For years, decades.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the fact that she, you know, turned down those that, you know, to work with the, you know, as we keep saying, Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, but she, you know, she wanted to stay with the gals, with the women, and she did. For the whole of the for her life, for the duration, which is just so, it's inspiring is an understatement, you know. It's yeah, so let's hear Tiny, let's hear that. So this is a track, folks, called How About That Jive, and you're going to see the whole thing, and it's Tiny it's with the International Sweethearts of Rhythm, and you're going to hear her sing, see her sing, and you're going to hear an awesome trumpet solo towards the end. And then after that, I'm going to bring the cyberspace band together, and we're going to do our own version of How About That Jive with some lyrics that are personal. Lara De Belder here, she's got her own lyrics, and Sharon's going to do her thing. Roella's going to be playing keys. I'm going to be, but we'll come on to that. Let's see and hear and celebrate Tiny now.
Mama's brown and can roll just like a ball. Yes, Mama's brown and can roll just like a ball. She's got a lot to give, and Daddy, you can have it all. Don't worry about sugar, 'cause I've got it by the ton. Don't worry about sugar, 'cause I've got it by the ton. So buzz me, baby, here's where you get your fun. I'm just a 5 by 5 and I'm known all over town. I'm just a 5 by 5 and I'm known all over town. I ain't much when I stand, but oh, when I lay it down. Now when you pick your chicks, you pick them big and fat. You can bet your boots that it's tight like that. How about that jive? All right. How about that jive? All right. How about that jive? All right. Daddy, you can have it all. I'm big enough to burst, round enough to roll, and what I've got will satisfy your soul. I'm a queen size mama, king size appetite. You get the key to my door if you know how to turn it right.
Oh, isn't that amazing? Like her presence and her energy, it's palpable. It's just palpable. That's right, isn't it? Palpable. That's it. Yeah. Making sure I'm saying that right. Yeah, and her, yeah, just so cool, and just really like that, as I mentioned earlier, just really owning the stage and the music and the lyrics as well. When Marva and I were preparing for this session, you know, let's talk about humor. You know, it's funny. It's full of innuendos. You know, she's cheeky. It's yeah.
And direct.
That's it,
Real
Lara.
life.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it. You know, so direct, and that is what I find so inspiring. That it's that intention. That it's the intention and that directness is. Wow, yeah, I love that. I'm so inspired by people that are direct, yeah, and have that fun presence and power. Yeah. So without further ado, let's do this. So we're gonna do our own version now of How About That Jive, and it's gonna feature Lara De Belder here on vocals, and Sharon McLeod on vocals as well, and Roella Aloro on keys, and I'm gonna do a bit of tooting on the trumpet. Okay, let's take it away. So this is a blues in D. Take it away, Roella. Thank you.
I'm a brown-eyed queen, but I could be your king tonight. I'm a brown-eyed queen, but I could be your king tonight. 'Cause if you're feeling queer, then baby I can put it right. I'll be your pussycat, baby, you can stroke me all night long. I'm just a pussycat, baby, won't you stroke me all night long? Stroke me just like that, 'cause I'm a tiger if you get it wrong.
I'm just 5 and known all over town. I'm 5 and known all over town. But I ain't much when I stand, but I can lay it down. And you can get your book, get your books off that. You can get your boots, and I'm supersized like that. How about that jive, baby? I can lay it down. All right, all right.
It's pretty all right, Smokus. All right.
All right, all right. All right,
How about that jive?
all right.
How about that jive?
All right.
How about that jive? 'Cause stranger fruits can do it right. Ooh, yeah. Right.
That was Charlotte Keeffe on trumpet, Lara De Belder on vocal, Sharon McLeod on vocal, and Roella Olora on keyboards. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, let's talk about the power of improvisation and oh no, sorry, I made a little error there, guys. So I'm just moving backwards a bit. We need to talk about Tiny Davis as a gay icon. She was incredible. She and her partner opening their club. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so Tiny and her partner Ruby Lucas. Ruby Lucas was clearly a multi-instrumentalist. There's many articles where she's sometimes described as the pianist and the drummer and also a bassist. So she's clearly, and actually we're going to see a clip very shortly, and you'll hear her talk, and she mentions that. I find some of the clip a bit hard to hear, but yeah, she definitely makes reference to that. And and Tiny and Ruby, they were together for 40 odd years. That's 40. They set up their own club, as Marva just said, in Chicago, and it was a gay club, and it was their gay spot. And just let that land with you, because this is the 1950s. This is two black women, and gay black women as well. So just let that land. 1950s. That's incredible.
It wasn't just a nightclub. It was it was a full-fledged restaurant. I found records that indicated they had to give it up because rezoning in the area condemned the area. So they had to stop. That was the only reason.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's just so exciting and so cool to know that. And so Ruby was of course in the Helldivers, Tiny's band that we mentioned talking about earlier, and I think it would be great to go into the clip that we have of Tiny and Ruby chatting, and just to get a real sense. And it's cool. I think this clip is super cute as well, because just as we are in our homes, in our familiar spaces, it really looks like these two are pretty comfortable as well where they are, and they're just sitting here clearly being interviewed but chatting, and it's really special to hear them. So let's hear them, and then we'll come back to some music.
Never thing. I had a big old home there, and all the furniture. I just moved out and left everything, and it started a band. When you want to do something, if you got power, you can always do it, really. like you young pretty girls are doing. Do anything you want to do. So I moved up there and started the band.
And that's the way I joined the band.
Oh, you didn't join the band until about a couple of years after, right?
Well, yeah, right.
Trying to manage and trying to take care of everything.
And I drove and I was the valet, the bass player, I was everything. Drove all over the United States.
Over?
Yeah. So I was.
I was so This was my band. I had a band called the Hell Divers, Tiny Davis.
Yeah, right.
We was a swinging little group.
We left New York, but we had to get our shots, you know. Then our first stop was Panama City. And then they met us at the plane, and it was hot, about 3 o'clock in the morning. We had a long table from here across the whole room. Champagne, nothing but champagne, and it was hot. Oh, but it was beautiful. It really was.
While you're having your fun, you're dragging my heart around. Now you do those little things I try not to notice. Everyone seems to know the road while you're having your fun. You're dragging my heart around.
I like to please the people when I get up there and try to give them a show. Feel grand to be a star anyway if you are a star, but when people like you, that's what the main thing. Well, the people like us. In the meantime, what about our spot? And we used to have a tavern in Memphis. Memphis!
Chicago.
Who's born in Memphis? Memphis, Tennessee. Booker T. Washington High School. I learned to blow that trumpet. Who asked me? But anyhow, we came out here from Chicago and worked at a nightclub, and we stayed 4 years, and everybody liked us. It was a very nice place.
Yeah. So
Tiny
that
Davis.
Yeah.
And Ruby.
Yeah. Thank you, Marva. And also Marva shared in the chat how Tiny Davis and the Hell Divers were the first female recording artists for the famous Decca Records, which is super cool. That leads us nicely into an improvisation that Lara De Belder and myself are going to kick off, and Sharon. This really is improvised, folks, and it's been inspired by what we've just seen and heard. Sharon will join us if and when she feels it, and Rowella too. And we're just going to improvise. So Lara and I will kick off. I'm Tiny is a gay woman. I'm also a gay woman, and Lara is my partner. So it's extra special to be doing this with Lara this evening with you all. And we're going to kick off an improvised tribute piece to Tiny and Ruby. So off we go. Inspired by what we've all just seen and heard. Okay.
You got power. Yes, you do. You got power. You got power. You can do it, really. You can do it, really. You can do it, really. It was my band. It was my band. The Hell Divers. The Hell Divers.
Chicago. LA. Montego Bay.
It was hot. It was hot. But it was beautiful.
In Panama City.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So beautiful.
Chicago, New York.
We had a tavern in Memphis, Tennessee. 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 We had a tavern in Memphis, Tennessee. Tennessee. And everybody liked us. It was a very nice
Here, blowing there, going everywhere. That could catch a train.
Yes, it was beautiful. Ruby and Tiny. Tiny and Ruby.
Going here, going everywhere to get
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Lara, Sharon, and Rowella. Thank you.
Shall we go straight to the next clips, because I'm aware time is moving on. We've got such a fabulous picture of Tiny and her relationship in her world and her relevance now, and how important she is, especially to you, Charlotte. And I'm seeing some wonderful things in the clips, but I think, yeah, we savor this moment. And I'm aware some musicians might need to leave quite quickly, and there is a chance, even if musicians go, for the audience to take over as well. Should we move into, if you want to just set the scene, Charlotte, then we move to the clip of Tiny and her grandson, and then we take it away.
Yep. Yeah. So this is it. This is your moment, folks. We're gonna play a Mighty Blues for Tiny all together. So we're gonna watch a short clip, which is, as Debbie just said, Tiny with her grandson, and it's a blues in B flat, and we're gonna we're going to take it away all together afterwards. So afterwards, we're going to, just to be clear, Sharon McLeod has written some beautiful lyrics that I want us all to hear. So that'll be what kicks off our Mighty Blues. And Rowella will be on keys. And then I know that she's going to have to dash pretty sharpish. But it's going to be something that I really invite you all to do your own thing. Whether it be, you know, also on an instrument, whether it be with your voice, whether you want to write out some of your own lyrics, whether you want to paint, whether you want to grab a... Rowella has to leave now. That's fine. Rowella, thank you.
Bye, Rowella.
Yeah, awesome.
It's awesome.
Travel all over town. There she goes.
Brilliant session, Charlotte.
Oh, thank you, Rowella. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
She does.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so I can relax a bit now. I was rushing because I knew Rowella had to go. But now she's gone, so I can I can relax now.
Don't have to rush so much.
So
but I mean, Rowella's got to go to New York. She's studying at Berkeley, and she's got a big program. It's amazing. We're so lucky to have all of you here. So let's keep rolling. What do you want to do now? Chat a bit more, or let's have Tiny?
You know, and let's just, before we go into that that clip, so going back to the invitation that I would really love everybody to get involved, do their own thing. So if your camera is off, you know, you're more than welcome. There's no pressure, but it would be lovely to see you. If you want to do your own chorus, just put your, you know, a shout out in the chat. And we can make it happen. So this really is a jam. It's a moment where we're coming all together to celebrate Tiny. And I know there's been lots of active. There we are. Rona would like to sing. Yeah, I think let's see that clip, and then we will see and hear and feel what happened. I'd love for us to share with each other in the chat how Tiny is inspiring you, and anything that you've discovered. And I'd love to celebrate and connect with her energy in this moment. Okay, off we go. Thank you. Okay.
Wow.
Let's do this. Sharon, are you ready to kick us off with your lyrics?
Sure. Mighty Blues for Tiny. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Well, they call her Tiny, man, but she ain't small. They call her Tiny, man, but she ain't small. Sound so big and round, we all come homeward bound. But Tiny, man, she ain't small.
Yeah.
They call her tiny and man, she ain't small. Got a sound big and round, we all come homeward bound.
Take it away.
Yeah, they call her tiny man, but she sure ain't small. Yeah, they call her tiny, but man, she ain't small. No, no, no. She got a sound so big and round, we all come homeward bound. Ba-da-dee-da-boo, ba-doo. Yeah.
Right on, girl. Beep-bow, bum-bum-ba-dee-bow, ba-ba-bee-oh, ba-da-ba-da-ba-bee-oh, bee-tow, scabba-da-doo-bow, weep-up, weep-up, weep-oh, bow, ba-da-ba-doo-ba-dee-dow. Yeah. Scada-da-boo-ba-boo-boo-ba-da-day, sweet bop-bop-bay, ba-ya-da-da.
How about Rona next?
Oh, bop-bop-bop-bop, bop-bop-bop.
She was amazing, so ahead of her time. It was big and strong, audience in mind. They took her to her heart, she'll stay in my mind. To a heart, stay in my mind.
Woo! Yes! Anyone else? Lillian. Yes.
Yeah. Tread to the truth, tread us this time. One. Plain and tender, oh my sister. Do you remember? You're like the water in, oh, we won't drown. Yeah, la la la, you quenching the thirst. Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right.
La la la, you quenching the thirst. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right, Lillian. Yes. Woo! Anyone else?
Alejandra.
Yes.
Come on, Ale.
Say you want the story now. Let me tell you, you say you want her story now. Let me tell you, we got to remember them for our futures.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo!
Keep the trumpet going.
Yeah, come on, trumpet.
Boot up, boot up.
Vibrational freedom.
Hey.
The vibrational freedom.
Yes.
Vibrational freedom.
Let freedom reign tonight.
Freedom for love.
Joy.
Your story is my story.
Ooh.
Come on in, Margaret.
Story is my story.
Yes, come on, Margaret.
Okay. Yeah. Well, they call me Tiny Man, but she is small. Well, they call her Tiny Man, but she ain't small. She's got a sound so big and round. Well, oh, come homeward bound. Hey, oh yeah.
Right, all right.
They call her Tiny, yeah, but she
all right, all right. All right, all right.
Call her Tiny, but she makes the world think she was small. If she were here now, she'd be proud of what you're doing. Oh,
yeah. Sing for freedom. Sing for love.
All right,
Sing for power. Sing for love.
All right. How about that jive? How
yeah.
That jive?
Sing it.
All right, all right. All right, all right.
Hear it. Make music. Live it. Sing it. Ooh. Be yourself.
Blow it.
Make music not war. Make music not war.
Yeah.
Charlotte Keeffe.
Wow. Wow.
Charlotte.
That was absolutely amazing. Wow. Wow. Be so lovely if some of you write in the chat how it felt taking part and also listening with different voices coming in. So amazing. Wow. Yeah, I think People are saying it. Whoa, amazing. That was great. Brilliant. Claps and music signs. Wow. And it went down really well with the few people watching on Facebook Live. We just say hello to Jean-Baptiste, Ifat, Lee, and Regina was in earlier from all around, especially Toronto and near Nice. So that was really good. Wow, it was inspiring. Just had to sing. Can we do this for real, face to face? Yes. This is our plan at some stage. We really love this. All this feedback would be really useful for us to go and tell the funders, tell Live Festival. I mean, just now there's the Wow Fest at Women of the Wow Fest at the South Bank. Imagine if we'd have a TKO at that one next year, or when they do more online as well. Absolutely amazing, amazing. And as we evolve through all the different of the sessions, we're actually maybe when we get to session 4, wow, we'll be just absolutely boiling. But this was so beautiful, so beautiful. Wow. In the chat, different things did come out. People flagged up trumpeters, Dizzy Gillespie really holding the fort, and then bringing in Clara Bryant, who was a real strong pioneer, and Ingrid Jensen were mentioned, and lots of things came out in the chat about people were incredulous that the way that women were treated and the things that were said, that was then and still now. I know Erilyn Wallen, who, I mean, she has one of this country's major composers, contemporary composers, gets asked, did you write all that score yourself? Come on, absolutely out of order still. And Martha flagged up some studies that have come up about women in different roles, and mentioning that too often the commentators are men, and especially white men. And this is what we're doing here, because one of the strands of Stranger Fruit is bringing forward people. We mentioned her in session 1, and you can see session 1 on the YouTube. If you go to strangerfruit.net and go to past sessions, you can click through to the YouTube from the previous time. But we mentioned Victoria Spivey, who her role in bringing forward the blues and in nurturing people like Bob Dylan is just not widely out there. Memphis Minnie cutting such a heavy road, Rosetta Tharpe, all of this, just people whose names get lost. And we have session 3 coming up on March the 26th. Renu will join us again, and she's chosen Jan Lee as her person to talk about, who is somebody that really turned around music. Now, I'd heard of all the other musicians that we're bringing up over the sessions. Jan Lee is totally new to me, just as Tiny Davis was a revelation to many people watching now. So that's there. You can sign up. Well, you lot are already in, so you don't need to register again, but please keep your eye on the socials, on @StrangerFruit1 on Twitter and on Instagram, on the Stranger Fruit page on Facebook. Please engage on those platforms, all of you, and the musicians will be taking part in that chat on their social media as well. We'll all cross-reference, and so please do that. Keep the chat going when the out track comes. Just chat amongst yourselves, because we'll actually be leaving you to yourselves, because we're going to ponder on this and what happened today and planning forward shortly. But you lot can stay for a while if you want to. I need to remind you that we have this wonderful site, Buy Me a Coffee, which is buymeacoffee.com/stranger fruit. And no matter how little and no matter how large the amount you want to put in, that will make a big difference towards matching the Arts Council funding and putting forward different elements that we might have overlooked in the application. And also remember, painting away is Claire Marshall. Maybe we should just look at what Claire has been doing. Are you able to spotlight her, Fez, so we can just see Claire's work? And if any of you were drawing now, that is amazing. And I don't know if you've got anything you want to show us on screen, but please feel free to share it on social media or email hello@strangerfruit.net and just let us know you've got something you want to contribute. I'm wondering what else I need to tell you about. If any of you in the team can think of anything I've forgotten to tell people, please improvise, please step in. I think that's all of it. The recording goes up on YouTube, as I said, and whilst we don't have a name for it, we want more and more people to like it so we can get to 100 likes. You can click through from the website in the past sessions. You can click through because all the sessions will go up there, or look out on all the socials. Tell your friends, please spread the word. And this was absolutely fabulous, really seriously fabulous. This is a great one from Isuru, and I know you are an album man. I remember I was out record shopping. Isuru and a friend were out record shopping in town, and he's saying it would be great if there was a key albums list for every session. I'm inspired to seek some.
We do have a Spotify list.
Fiona, thank you for saying. We decided Spotify might not be the best platform, but there is a Spotify. If you search, maybe Marva, you could say something about that and about all the resources that are on the website, because we do have resources that are online.
Oh yes, we're going to be putting up a list of resources for women in music. It'll include information about where places to go to get funding, especially if you're a composer producing original music. And we're going to look for resources from all over the world, not just in the UK, because we found our audience is coming from different parts of the globe, which is fantastic. And we are going to be uploading excerpts from each episode onto the website, and also the full clip of the performances will be on the website. Well, they'll be on YouTube, and then we'll embed them in the website as well. So, and if anyone has been participating who's an artist like Claire, a visual artist, and you've created something, please do message us and email us. You can email us at hello@strangerfruit.net. Send us your work and we'll put it up on the website, and send us a blurb about yourself as well. So I don't know if there's anything else that you need from me. If I missed anything, just let me know.
I've just seen this thing in the chat that Tiny also put together a white women's jazz band.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she was trying, because she was always on about, well, I think after the war, the women had a harder time in terms of getting their music heard, being hired.
And often the thing was that in the war, the women were brought in to do things. Day one, the men come back, and it's shoom.
Yeah, it happened in every industry, but especially in regards to performance, the women were where they were making inroads, and they were then relegated back to a certain standard of or stereotype of performance. So
brilliant, so much to chew over. As I said, please do keep the chat going for as long as you're still here. There will be an outro track with some fabulous photos and some more amazing music, there's a fabulous suggestion, which is quite a good one to go out on, about us doing like face to face would be fabulous, but keeping it hybrid with live and stream. I think that's something that's been, it's always been in the air. It's not a new concept of live and streaming at the same time over the past few years, but I think that is something really rather positive that has come out of lockdown, that actually us making these mediums our own. Look at Zoom. I'd never heard of Zoom before, although people were using it for board meetings. So things like that. Yeah, so there's a lot of plans. The chat does get saved when we save
Debbie.
things.
So, sorry, Debbie, when you said that, it reminded me a point that is that we're in a time where we have an opportunity to expand audience on such a broad scale. And if we all work together from wherever we are on the planet, what we can create, just so much positive energy, and especially with women getting together and doing these things in a constructive way that can impact diversity of audience.
I'm going to leave it there. I think that's perfect. So remember, the slide will come up. March the 26th is our next gathering with Renaud, telling us, inspiring us with Jan Lee. And remember, buy me a coffee, look at all the socials, look at the website, and blessings.
We'll have a special guest in the next episode as well, Lillian Allen, dub poet Lillian Allen, who's participated in Jam this evening. She's going to be part of Renaud's session as well.
Yay, wonderful. Roll the outro track.
Yeah, here we go.
Tell me, Papa, Papa, who's riding your racehorse? Yes, tell me, Papa, Papa, who's riding your racehorse? I want to ride him once and I don't care what it costs. Just turn him loose, don't you worry about a thing. Yes, turn him loose, don't you worry about a thing. Let him buck and jump, cause I know what it's gonna bring. Run, run to the stable, Daddy'll hitch him up. Get him up, get him up, get him up. Run to the stable, Daddy'll hitch him up. Get him up, get him up, get him up. If he needs working out, you can bet he's gonna get enough. Get enough, get enough, get enough. Now I'll ride him to the east and I'll ride him to the west. I'll ride it in the middle, it's a groovy mess. Go Dobbin, no, you can't last long. I wanna ride you if it takes me all night long. Blow, Pajo, blow! Last night and the night before, I woke up this morning, I want to ride some more.